Fabio, who is our guest tonight and who is the guest of Design Week Budapest, who was born in Italy, in Lecce, and at a pretty early age he moved to Milan. Then he finished his studies, he became an architect, and then he moved to New York for a couple of years and studied film at the NYU. Then he came back to Milan and started his own office or studio. What he did so far, or a selection of it, you will see in the images behind us. But what struck me when I was reading your CV is that it seems to me that you have a very special, almost like a love relationship with the city of Milan.
Milano is a very strange city. I believe that Milano is very developed with design because it's a very ugly city. Milano is not beautiful. I mean, Budapest is beautiful. It's very hard to be a designer in Budapest because Budapest is too beautiful. How can you make beautiful things in such a beautiful city? Milano is very ugly, so you make beautiful things. That's the secret. Milano attracts the design from all over the world, and you really cannot explain why. Because the city itself doesn't have any meaning. Milano used to be very beautiful before Second World War. You know, the beginning of the 1900s, it was beautiful. Stendhal, when he came to Milano, he was describing Milano as one of the most beautiful places in the world. But now, really, believe me, it's not so nice. What can I say? So that at least I try to, let's say, ransom the ugliness of Milano with the beauty of design. You know, that's probably why they take me around. I mean, yesterday I was in Beijing talking for the city of Milano. You know, I'm like the ambassador of design for the city, let's say. I did the last Triennale Design Museum. I've made a space in Shanghai for the Expo in 2010. I mean, it's like if I can translate the need of beauty that is in Milano, but is not in the city. You know, that's interesting.
But when you work for the city of Milan, like in Shanghai that you just mentioned, when you do the design, is it your own natural instinct to go back to the very famous personalities of Italian, not only design but also art, like the image that we saw already, but it will come back showing the Shanghai Expo special exhibition, which was designed by you. There is a very strong cultural reference to Boccioni. Are these things just naturally come from you, or you know that you have to work with these, with your past?
So, this is a very important topic. I always say that I am a man of my time, that we all, the people living in this room, we're almost sharing the same period of life, you know? So we all should, with our work, testify our own time. But our own time, which we called the present time, comes from the past and goes in the future. It's future, we don't know what's going to happen in 5 minutes. But the present time, okay? So we have to testify present time. I think this is really important for all of us. You know, we should really, with our work, try to translate it into artworks, into the things we do. You know, there is a very interesting similarity in Italian. Present time, and actually it's the same in English. Present time is also a present, is a gift. You know, when you are able to catch the instant, to catch the moment, so to live your life in that exact moment without saying, I will start living in a couple of weeks, or, oh, it used to be beautiful a couple of weeks ago. No, you just have to concentrate on now. Now makes the difference. Because the actions that you decide to make now will change the future, and is closing the past. You know, and it's really like, it's so important, so that you have to live your life as if it's a gift. If a client comes to you asking you for a shoe shop, basically what he's asking you is a shelf sticking out from the wall 35 centimeters. For me, it was one shelf that just goes crazy in the space, you know, and it becomes like something like a ribbon that wraps the space up. Actually, you know, when I was a student, my effort was to go in the corners of the spaces and check if it was really 90 degrees. Usually it was 89 and a half, 90 and a half, 91, you know what I mean? Well, I mean that the way we try to simplify space is unreal, is not human. You know, there was a guy, his name was Benoit Mandelbrot, and he was the one that discovered the fractals. He was the one that discovered the theory of chaos. And basically I believe that this is really my theory of my personal chaos. You know, it's the chaos in my mind. I mean, I try to be as simple as possible, but that's the simplest I achieve to be, you know what I mean?
You might say that this is your personal chaos, but if I was a client and I walked into this shop, I wouldn't experience chaos, but I would experience freedom. I would feel that I'm part of something that is exciting, that it's moving, that it's decorative, that it's nice. So in a way, if it's an ideal place for a client because you go inside and you feel you want to part of this thing.
Yeah, but beware, I like chaos. I mean, when I say chaos, I don't say something bad. I say something that surrounds us. I say something that is the condition in which we live. I mean, chaos is our time. We have to accept it. It's part of the game. That's why, I mean, for me, it's not a bad connotation, chaos. So that it's a nice thing. I'm just telling you, really, it's a stupid shoe shop. It's nothing. But the message is, don't take anything for granted. You know what I mean? It's like, don't just trust a shelf sticking out 35 centimeters from the wall, because that's not the truth. You know what I mean? I mean, all my work is about choosing of not having any truth. You know what I mean? It's like we cannot have certainties in our time. Eventually, we can have some accuracy. We can be accurate. So what's the task of a soccer player? The task of a soccer player is playing good. Your task as a soccer player, if you are Maradona, you just need to play greatly. You just need to entertain people, to make them dream. You know what I mean? And when you do something like this, your sponsor is very happy. You know, I tell you a little story about this shop actually. The client is an American client. He did very conservative shoes when he came to me. And he said, Fabio, I have to make some shops in Italy. You Italians are so cool. So I have to make a cool shop. But my clients don't want cool shops. Because my clients are mothers, grannies, you know, very, very comfy ladies. So he said, okay, go crazy only in Rome and Milan, but then I have to make my normal shops with my shelves sticking out, etc., etc. You know what happened? And that's a very interesting case. The guy, Stuart Whiteman, after I did these two shops in Rome and Milan, he changed completely his approach to designing the shoes. The shoes became more fancy, more fashionable. All the Hollywood stars started using it. And he did these shops all over the world. He has done until now 200 shops like this. You know what I mean? It's like, that's a very interesting history because design can really change. I don't believe when you say, this kid knew that he would have been an astronaut. You know, life is very accidental, guys. Life is very accidental. I actually took a degree in 1992 in architecture, but I thought I would have never been an architect. And you know why? Because I'm not able to draw. And when I got the degree in 1992, computers were not existing. I mean, it was only 20 years ago. But nobody had a computer and nobody was using a computer to draw. So you had to draw with your hands. And I couldn't. That's why I moved to New York. That's what she said before. I moved to New York because I thought, you are eventually good at telling stories. So that the only way of telling stories, being helped by other people and having a goal, which is very far, but is a goal, is make a movie. You know, movies are a beautiful process. They start from a story. You want to tell a story. And then you find a way. You find someone which is good with photography, someone which is good with the set, someone with the sound, the light, whatever. Everything comes together. But the main topic is telling a story. So that when I finally had the occasion of doing something on my own as an architect, it was very accidental. But anyway, it's not interesting. But when I could do it, the process was exactly the same, because I knew that what I had to do was just telling stories. That's what makes the difference. You are not asked to design another chair. You're asked to make a statement. You know, it's a statement, it's not a chair. Who needs another chair? Nobody needs another chair. Nobody needs another sofa, another house, another whatever. We need statements, we need something interesting, something that can fascinate us. I always say, this is a time in which you cannot convince people about anything. You can eventually seduce them. You can eventually make them fall in love. Because falling in love is what really makes the difference. You know, if your work has to do with falling in love, you will succeed. If your work, you think, is something professional, forget about it.
If you say, who needs another chair, and it's not a chair that you have to design, you have to come up with a story. When you were working on this chair, which is exhibited in this place, although it's full of us now, did you have a brief for something, or were they coming to you and saying, Fabio, we want a chair?
This chair, if some of you is acquainted with design, if some of you knows a little history of design, of course you will see that this chair comes from the very famous Panton chair from 1967, okay? Since I was a student, I thought that the Panton chair was the most beautiful chair ever. So, having it at my desk because I liked it and I bought it, and watching it every day, I understood that the limit of the chair, the limit of perfection, was perfection itself. Perfection is limited. You have to make things with a little imperfection. You know, the human body is a little imperfect, and then you just give life to it, you know. The perfection of the Panton chair is something that scares you in some ways. But having a body, a naked body of a man or a naked body of a woman, it doesn't scare you at all. You just change your attitude. You just start laughing, you say, it changes the attitude of the people. I can tell you, I've seen people sitting at these chairs in big tables in big meetings, and it was so funny, the whole situation. I mean, that's how I think I evolved the Panton chair, because I changed the approach. Not anymore something on an altar, you know, something that you had to lay on your knees and pray, but something that you could play with, something that was human, like you are. If you believe in your ideas, nobody can change your mind, you know what I mean? It's like you will find your way of obtaining it. You know, you don't find that producer, you go to another one. Not the other one, go to another one again. I mean, it's like, you find your way. There's never a limitation. The limitations are always in our heads.